about it. And that's exactly what we have done this morning as we discuss confronting conflict-related sexual violence and its impact. You know, it's not anybody that just talking about this, okay? And then this is to commemorate the 2025 International Day for Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict. Very important. We have a team that said, breaking the cycle, healing the scars, addressing the intergenerational effects of conflict-related sexual violence. This is what we are caught at this morning. Too much grammar. Don't worry. We'll bring it down. We'll bring it down. Because I assembled a team of guests that are going to tell you more on this. The first person is Amara Mojeke. Amara Mojeke is the chairperson, International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Nigeria, Anambra State Branch. Good morning, Amara. Amara is also she's also the NBA Women Forum Anambra State lead. Welcome to Good Morning Anambra Space.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay. Then I also have another person joining her, Ambassador Ifechupu Juliet Obiajolo. She is the country coordinator, United Council for Youth Empowerment, UCYE. She's also a nurse by profession, and not just that, she is also the program manager, African Network of Adolescents and Young Persons Development. Good morning, nurse.
Good morning.
Did you come with injection?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, once you hear nurse, next thing that comes to your mind is injection.
Yeah, sure.
And once you hear lawyer, you be very careful what you say before they put it to you. Okay, welcome, gentlemen in the house. I hope you don't mind. We don't have women in this profession. Once you sit on my table, you're a man. Okay, so let's hit the ground running with the topic we have raised this morning, confronting conflict-related sexual violence. And its impact. Just yesterday, the news came of a school teacher that molested his pupil, 11-year-old pupil, in a school around Onitsha or thereabouts. So he has been convicted and sent to 12 years imprisonment, okay, according to the laws, you know, prohibiting this kind of act in Anambra State. And it gladdens our hearts. We clapped hands because if you have to continue like this, that simply means we're going to see the limitation, if not the end of this gender violence and even abuse, sexual abuse in the society. So now let me start with you, the barrister. So what's your take on that judgment that we had yesterday before we now verge into what we have for today?
All right. I am very glad to inform you that that matter was prosecuted by the Publicity Secretary of International Federation of Women Lawyers by name Chinelo Akora Esquire.
Wow.
Yes.
That's great.
So she prosecuted that matter and got that judgment. That judgment is very encouraging. She's also a public prosecutor in the Anambra State Ministry of Justice. And I'm also an assistant chief state counsel with the Anambra State Ministry of Justice.
We have not known everything about you.
This is prosecution. And we are very glad to have that. It means that we are moving forward. Securing judgment is a way to send the news faster than it can get to anybody. It's encouraging and people are glad that this is happening at this
Honestly, I was so happy when I heard it. I think it was the first story I read this morning. I was almost jumping up as I was taking the news that this is what we want to hear. So that we'll see if some other people will be deterred, because that's the problem we're having. Like what the president was saying, sorry, I have to debate a bit. Get us this, what the headers. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has been prosecuted. All these years, over 15 years of terrorism in Nigeria. So how do we expect it to stop? It will continue. Okay, that's what we are saying this morning. Once you stop people from, or you prosecute somebody for, you know, committing a particular crime, others will be careful. Okay, let's get down to the business. Yeah, let me come to you, Nurse. How does the Federation of Information, the Freedom of Information Place Act, empower women to demand transparency and accountability in governance?
Okay, freedom of information is power. when you are not informed, you are deformed. So as a woman, in the African context, or even in the whole world, there is always this gender inequality. So to bridge it, there is need to inform them. Information to me for the gender woman is empowerment. So when they are informed, they stand in a better position to make informed decision. So I think it has really gone a long way to not only form them, but to nurture them to face the reality of life.
Okay. Yeah, Barrister, let's look at the objective in this discussion. Why must we be sitting here and talking about conflict-related sexual violence and the past? Is it because it's on the increase or because it is almost becoming a way of life here?
You see, conflict-related sexual violence is one of the heinous crimes that are underreported. It's very underreported. People are not even aware these things are going on. Many people don't speak up because of cultural taboo, stigmatization, lack of investigation and prosecution, and then the survivors fear that when they come out to speak up, there will be retaliation
and stigma.
And they will be re-traumatized. They will remember what happened to them, and it will make them shrink. That is why we are not hearing about it. But these things happen every time. In everywhere we have armed conflict, they are happening in broad daylight. We know about the Chibok experience. We heard about it. This one came to the food lab because it was it was loud, and school children, I think the school is a very popular school where elite kids go attend. But these things go unreported. It happened in our communities. Even in this community crisis going on in the villages in Anambra State, it happens there. It's happening day by day. But the problem is that it's underreported. So it's very critical that we talk about this to create the awareness that is needed to tackle it.
Okay, and that's exactly what we are doing this morning to make sure that we tackle it. We have a case of awareness, like you have said. So how do we create this awareness? Ness?
Okay, creation of awareness, it's a multi-sectoral approach. You can't create awareness when you are indoor, even when we know that to pass an information, it starts from the house. For example, you might think you know it all, but your child or your ward right under your nose do not have those information. So as a parent, you need to create that awareness in your house. As a healthcare worker, you need to create that awareness in every contact you have with your client.
How do you create the awareness in your house as a parent?
By creating
because these days, you find that parents are looking for what to say and what not to say. He's a small child. Let me not just say it and start giving him or her ideas. But not knowing that even that child knows, if not better than you.
Better than the parent.
So feel free.
So when you talk about creating awareness as a parent or as a guardian, we call it age-appropriate sexual education. You do not dish the same advice or the same information for an 18-year-old child to a 3-year-old child. You have to make it age-appropriate. But unfortunately, even the parents you think they know do not even know, because they grew up in the dark, and we know the context. Still going back to gender inequality, we know what it means for the female child being protected somewhere and given little in terms of everything, and these children spend most of their time with the mother. She can only give what she have. So we try to make sure that these parents have the right information, speak to that child in the language he or she understands. It could be the English or the mother tongue. And when you are giving age-appropriate comprehensive sexual education, make sure you call those things their names. And make sure you tell your child that her no should be her no, and her yes should be a yes. It could be like a song. Do not say yes when you mean to say no. It could be like a rhythm in schools and everything. So parents have a whole lot to do, and we as a healthcare worker need to also pass that information to the parents in every contact we have with them during the antenatal clinic, during delivery, family planning services. It should be an integrated approach so that we meet it at the board.
Okay, apart from parents now, family, okay, you went ahead to other sections.
Yes, we talk about the religious people who are also in Anambra State. They make a lot of words and we accept it the way it is. For instance, you go to church on Sunday for Christians, irrespective of your denomination, or you go to the mosque on Friday. Whatever your pastor, your priest, the imam said, you absorb it like that. So the religious leaders are also, they should be champions. They should pass this message. And of course, the media, just the way we are having this morning discussion, you will be marveled on the millions of people this will reach to. Even when our voice has stopped in the studio, the internet has a way of propelling it, and someone in the next 2 years could bump into it and say, oh, I never knew as a parent I need to give my child an age-appropriate, comprehensive sexual education. I never knew as a religious leader I need to use my pulpit beyond the religious teaching to really speak to those children about sexual violence, to really speak to them about comprehensive sexual education. I never knew that as a health worker. Beyond giving them the medical attention, I need to go beyond it to give them those supports that will make them better people in respect to their gender. So that is it.
Okay, thank you very much. And the cast, when you were talking, when we were making an introduction, especially about the judgment that we had yesterday, you made mention of the role that your organization played. Now, let us take it a little further. This thing has been, this violence has been from generation to generation. Can you put us through to what your organization, one as FIDA, as MBA, has been doing to make sure that this conflict-related sexual violence is controlled?
All right, before I speak to that, I want to say that the focus of our discussion this morning is because today is the International Day for the Elimination of Conflict-Related Sexual Violence. Then people, our listeners, will want to know what is conflict-related sexual violence. So when there is armed conflict, maybe communities and communities are having problems and people are coming in to fight with arms, when these things happen, we see that many people are being affected, not only by being hurt, but there is always sexual violence in armed conflict. Men, women, boys, girls are raped. Some of them are taken into captives and they are made sexual slaves. Anytime those people that capture the one, they will just sleep with them. Another thing is that there is enforced sterilization. Some of these boys, they will be sterilized and they will be forced to become armed men and follow them to fight. So these things are happening. And also, there is this forced prostitution. They will use these girls that they got and start doing prostitution with them. And then there is also forced pregnancies. These ladies get pregnant and then they give birth to children that they were not expecting to have. I remember it's a conflict. So there is intergenerational anger. If you come into my community, these things are done to just humiliate the members of the other community. Come into my community, take my women, my girls, my young men. Women and girls are affected inappropriately. They are more in number than the men and boys, but they are also affected. Like we saw in another judgment where a man was convicted for raping a boy. So boys are also raped. Yes, by the same Chinelo. He was prosecuted by the same Chinelo at Cora.
Oh, really?
Yes. So you see, when these things happen, women are raped, girls are raped, they take them away from them. So these communities are very angry. And what would they be thinking about? We must retaliate.
Retaliation.
We must go into this.
And that's where the conflict comes in.
We will take their women, we will rape them. That is why we have that topic, breaking the cycle. It keeps going on and on. This fight, they say, oh, you came to my community, took our women, raped them, forced them as to be slaves, sexual slaves, impregnate them, and they are burning your children, giving birth to your children. Now is our turn. We go back, we'll fight back, do the same thing to you. Then you now will say, okay, we have gotten through it, we are going back. The cycle keeps going. It keeps going. How do we break this cycle? How do we heal these scars? That's the theme of this year's celebration. The cycle needs to be broken. The scars needs to be healed. So what are we doing? What should be done? This is not something that should be done just by FIDA. It's a communal, it's an international, it's a national topic. And the things I think should be done is, let's start from our laws. There's an international word, in short, in the international law, this conflict-related sexual violence is regarded as a genocide. The same way genocide, yes, it's regarded. And we have international tribunal like the one that happened in Rwanda, where they went into, there was war, there's a conflict, and these things happened, they investigated, and those perpetrators were prosecuted. So, if we have international laws, why don't we have national laws?
Okay.
And then if we have national laws, why don't our national code be enforced, resourced to investigate and prosecute perpetrators?
So is anybody engineering that?
That is what I'm saying. To do that is what we are doing now, coming online to say that this is underreported, these things are happening in communities, inside the villages, inside the hinterland. You can imagine, you know communities where war is going on now. Go to the Anambra, West Anambra, you know that areas where we are having conflict because of land. Those men come in and take the girls, they rape them, they rape women, people on your watch.
Rape even grandmothers.
Grandmothers, it's traumatizing.
It is.
And it gives anger. These people need psychological care. They need to be resuscitated. We need survivor support. We need these survivors not to stigmatize, to be stigmatized. We need to provide support. Do you know that some of these people, not only that they get pregnant, they get HIV. They get infections.
Infection of all kinds.
They get, little children start having kids that they didn't budget for, and they start supporting and training kids that they didn't budget for. So, laws, courts, is not enough. We need survivor support. Those that it has happened, survive them, but it's not enough. We need peace, build.
When you say survivor support, what do you mean by that?
Yes. Now, we need what I call psychosocial support, mental health support.
Okay.
You talk to them and tell them, this thing happened to you, you are down.
By way of counseling.
Yes, counseling. And then those that have HIV, they should have access to drugs. They should not be stigmatized. Those that have little children, how do we take care of them? How do we give them things? How do we support them? Then the families that have these scars, how do we heal so that it will not, the cycle will be broken? This cycle can only be broken through peace building mechanism. And
that's exactly what I want to ask now, because it's not just enough for you to heal. Well, once there's no peace, there's a possibility that what happened will continue, it will escalate. This generation will come up and they told them, your mother died because of this, and this happened, and this is where you came about, and you know, that kind of a thing. So the anger will come up again. So what do we do? How do we broker peace? Let me come to you, Nurse. How do we broker peace between these two, within the communities that are having this kind of conflicts?
Okay, before I respond to that question, I want to take a step back to what Barrister just said about psychosocial support. I became more interested when she was moving towards health.
Yes.
It's always better when topics around health are even coming from non-health practitioners. That means we are really doing awareness.
That's the synergy.
It's moving, yeah. So the first thing for a survivor, we don't call them victims anymore, is what we call psychological first aid. So for psychological first aid, we have the 3 L's, which is the look. when you are doing the look, you look at the environment. Is it safe for you who wants to provide the psychological first aid? Is it safe for that survivor you want to assist? The next thing is the second L, which is the listen. You must listen without judging. You must listen and make sure that you are passing this information of confidentiality. Because once that survivor is talking to you and he or she is sensing that their information could divulge, they will withdraw. So you must listen without judging. Do not make promise you cannot keep. The last L is to link. It pains the survivor to know that nothing can be done. Remember that those perpetrators always tell them to their face that you cannot do anything. And that is...
And eventually nothing is done.
And nothing is done. So when a perpetrator has done this, and the survivor 5 years ago, nothing was done, it's happening again. How do we talk about peace without justice?
Healing. Okay, justice.
You cannot talk about peace without justice. So at that point of linking, you provide them in the health sector, there is what we call the important 72 hours. 72 hours of a sexual violence survivor has a lot to tell about their life. For example, sexually transmitted infections such as the HIV. If the person had contracted it in that act, and you are able to provide that person what we call the post-exposure prophylaxis within that first 72 hours, you have averted that person's possibility to become HIV positive. Now, there are so many other things such as the family planning care. The truth is, I do not think any woman would want to get pregnant out of such genocide. That stigma remains. That child cannot stand up when he's an adult to take something in his kindred, because those that knew how he came about would tell him, get out from here, you are a product.
In so many communities
you
now.
Understand? So we can't talk about peace when we are unable to address the immediate need of those people. The next linking...
So eventually if there's a child, what do we do?
Oh, if there is a child, it still goes down to...
Or if there's pregnancy.
If there is pregnancy. Okay, that is when there is pregnancy, which means that 72 hours care wasn't given properly.
Okay.
If it was given properly, we take care of that part also.
Beautiful.
But if there should be pregnancy for any reason, it still boils down to generational harm of the post-effect of this. Because that child will not forgive the other community that had brought him into this world. Remember, in quote, that child doesn't know whom his father is. So he remains
That's the worst thing you can do to a man.
Yes. Then another linking is definitely to the arm that will bring the justice, which is where we call about the pro bono lawyers, we call about the Ministry of Justice. They need to step in to tell those perpetrators that yes, something can be done. Something wasn't done so many years ago when this happened, but we can't continue repeating the same thing. You can't do the same thing and expect a different result. So when they know that something can be done, then when you talk about peace, it can come by. If no, there can be peace.
Is it enough to just tell the person that something can be done? Will anything actually, happen?
Yes, that's where I'm talking about the second linking, which is to the Ministry of Justice, the pro bono lawyers. They take it off from there. There are laws that speak on this. There are things they need to do that will act. Like the passing of the judgment of the man that happened yesterday. Things like that. There are faces to this, what's it called? To this, the whole thing. There are faces, they know those people that do it. Yes, a woman wouldn't say that she doesn't know the person that had done that to her. Even when there is a cover, she might know the person's voice. So there are faces to it. If something is done, it will pass a long time message that you can't do this any longer and go scot-free.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Barrister, this one is at your table now. When it gets to pro bono or getting justice, how do you come in?
Yes, I would like to say that the International Federation of Women Lawyers what we do is protecting the rights of women and children.
Mm-hmm.
We give voice to the voiceless. Not only women and children, the indigent men, young boys in the society, we protect their rights and we give pro bono services free of charge. We report, we follow up, we prosecute, we get conviction. And you can see, Chinelo, 2 convictions within a space of 2 weeks. So these are what we have done and we are doing. It's not only FIDA. We have the human rights section of the NBA. In all the 8 branches of the NBA, yes. And they are there to get lawyers to do pro bono services. Once you report to International Federation of Women Lawyers or to the NBA, we will take it up from there. Yes. We get these people arrested, prosecuted.
Is it as easy as you're saying it?
We have done it. You are seeing it. You are seeing it on the internet. You celebrated us this morning, right? Yeah.
I did.
These are a little of things we do, you know, that are not coming to the full plate. They are not going to the public. We do it day by day. I can remember I was walking into a meeting, MBA meeting, and they said someone is looking for you, and I stopped, and I saw a woman with 3 of her children. Looking for me, and I said, why are you looking for me, ma'am? She said, a young man in my vicinity that been terrorizing the vicinity slept with the 3 of my kids. 2 girls, 1 boy. Yes, we didn't stop. Immediately, I got the vice president.
Slept with the girls and the boys.
The boy. Yes, this young man, I got the vice chair of the NBA branch involved. She came in immediately. We had to get the young man arrested, handed him over to the police. We funded it and transferred the case to court. And he's being prosecuted now. We do this every time. If you come to the feeder center every Tuesday, you see lots of people. Lots of people there with these needs. Like when I was checking our register, I saw that as of now, from January to now, we have up to 100 cases of violence.
6 months.
Can you imagine that?
From January to now. Less than 6 months. June is still here.
And we have these FIDA dedicated lawyers, magistrates, judges coming to listen to these people, to give mediate, to just give them hope. Sometimes it's going beyond.
Do you pay them? Do you pay? Does FIDA pay them?
No, free of charge. Sometimes we bring out our money to give these people even food to eat first. Sometimes it's transport money to go back from the communities they are coming from.
No, I mean the lawyers that are handling these cases.
They are not paid. It's free of charge.
Oh, really?
We give these services
pro bono.
It's pro bono.
It's pro bono.
We give it free. And we are calling people, come to FIDA, come and report these cases. We follow it up. We give this services free of charge. The NBA, there's a synergy because we are lawyers with NBA and FIDA. And then lawyers come to prosecute these things pro bono, free of charge. Like I tell you, the human rights aspect of the NBA, every vice chairman of the NBA branch is the chairman of the Human Rights Committee of the NBA in that branch. Yes, once you report those cases, they take it up.
Every vice or every
vice chair.
Okay, is the chairman of the human rights. Okay, wing of the that particular chair. Okay.
That particular, and we have 8 branches in Anambra State.
Oh, really?
8.
Yes. So you see, we are spread out.
So how do you get your members? Are the members of the human rights in the NBA are they all lawyers?
All lawyers, they're willing.
No activists, nothing, just lawyers.
Lawyers to give.
So how do you now relate to the outside world? You are just within yourself. I think if
the
that's
lawyers there are the ones that you report the cases to. They make sure it is prosecuted, investigated, and prosecuted. Because it's the lawyers that can do that. Activists cannot do that. Activists bring cases to us. CBOs, CSOs.
Yes, that's what I mean. If there's a meeting point where you work together.
Synergy with the CBOs, the CSOs, and they bring. And like you said, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Women Affairs, they are all in this together. With all the CBOs, Human Rights Commission, CBOs, CSOs, in short, we have a platform where all of us are.
That's what I'm saying.
So when this thing come in, they throw it in the
For
platform.
easy communication.
Yes,
Okay.
we take it up. You see, or sometimes we start contributing money. There's a little girl in Ntasi now that needs props and fusion. We contribute money. Some family that need food, we contribute money. The last time we contributed money, brought food item, and it was sent to Ntasi to the family to eat first.
You guys are doing a marvelous job.
So it's
How
not
come
just
it's underreported?
Yes, it's not reported because this
Maybe you need an air time with the media for you to be telling us what you are doing.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people don't even understand. They don't even know that they have such provision with you guys. But when you start talking, that's what media can do for you. When you start talking, okay, well, let me go and meet these people that are,
They can do this.
Thank you very much. We'll take a break here to bring in some people that we'll talk to. After that, we'll come back and conclude.
The only solution I see to this problem is we'll start from home. You see, when we give our children that is normal training, we talk to children, rebuke them when they do something that is wrong. You see, it will start from there.
I feel that for someone to be sexually harassed is not by choice. I feel they are victim of circumstances. They are victim of circumstances. And another thing, by creating awareness from the government, maybe going to schools, imparting on our children, telling them that whenever an adult approach you with something like this, tell your guidance, tell your teacher.
One of the things we can do is actually try to be there for them, like the loved ones, trying to be there for them, try to encourage them, and also if you can help them pick up from where they are falling, okay? Most times these things are tied to emotions. If you can help them rebuild their emotions, probably by channeling those anger, those pain towards certain hobbies, the person can always stand up and rebuild themselves. So that's one of the things we can do, instead of abandoning them or just leaving them to that mental state to just work on it on themselves. I believe that in some situations even a little help can help. So that's one of the things, or the few of the things that we can do.
I think anybody that such incident occurred, the best thing is to take the person to let government know about what happened and still treat the particular person normal as it should be.
Have you back? We're still here talking about how to manage conflict in our society to ensure that we live well as brothers and sisters, if you want to call it that. And I still have the guest with me in the house, Amara Mojeke, and Ambassador Ifechukwu Obiajulu with me in the house. Dalon, you are still welcome to this place. I think we missed something. Let's get back and see how we can avert this thing. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. If you are hungry now, if you want to eat, you first of all feel hungry, okay? And when you start having the sign of hunger, that is where you start looking at, is there anything for me to eat here? If not, you start making arrangements. What will I eat now to, take care of my hunger? So when you sense danger, okay, how do you know, or what do you do when you feel that a conflict is about to come? Warning signal that this thing could lead to a conflict, or that I heard that these people are having this kind of agitation against us and they are planning. So what do you do? I'm still coming to you before I get to Ambassador, please. Council.
Okay, yes. The key word in this is conflict related. There are many sexual violence, but this one is conflict related. So the question is, how do we stop this conflict from happening in the first place? So we can stop it by working with the stakeholders. All the stakeholders in the committee, like she earlier mentioned, the traditional rulers, religious rulers, media, security agents, to be able to first of all identify the root cause and then have early warning signals. If you're in a community and there's something about to happen, the governor will say, if you see something,
say something.
Early warning signal, bring it up to security agents. Say, this thing is about to happen. A conflict is about to happen. Something, they can come in and stop it from happening. You can also bring it to any peace building committee that work with all in collaboration with these stakeholders. Like in Anambra State, we have the International State peace building committee in Anambra State.
Really?
Yes, they collaborate with the stakeholders in the various communities. If you bring this report to them, they can now collaborate, work with the security agent, the traditional that to.
So how do we know where they are to give them the reports?
Of course, they are in Anambra State. Their office is very close to the ABS here, and then they have their anchor person, they have their chairman, the alternate chairman, and we can drop the contact with the ABS people so that if you need to get to them, you can get to them.
It's very important, please.
Yes.
Very, very important.
So these early warning signals, if we get it on time, conflicts can be stopped or reduced to the barest minimum. Yes. And then if there's conflict going on, they can also come in to identify the root cause and then to try to build a peacekeeping. You know, when two communities are already angry, you have to break the cycle. You have to bring them together and say, okay, listen, this thing has happened. Remember, your daughter have a child from this community and is coming with this community. It has brought conflict, but it has also brought you people together. So you have to move on. Everybody have to leave their grievances and stop. Resolve the root cause and they start living together as one again. Then the children born from this community will not be stigmatized when their awareness is created to know if you're stigmatizing this child is born by your daughter. So, you know, the circle is there. So why don't we accept ourselves, come together and stop this and live together?
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ambassador, let's look at how to eliminate this sexual violence in conflict. You could go to war and fight the war and go. How do we avoid this sexual violence that is, that is now conflict related? That if you are going to war, you must abuse their women, you must abuse their men sexually. Instead of obuna anakanas, or you go there and fight for the land and come back. How do we prevent it?
Okay, conflict comes with a change in emotional balance. For example, we are seated here comfortably, and suddenly this building starts collapsing. Your mindset will change. The first thing that comes to your mind is safety. This is where the violence comes in. People now offer that safety at a price. So sometimes I understand that they go for vengeance, but these people run for safety. So when they do that and it's coming at a pay, most of them had run away without money. The first thing that comes there is to use their body to pay. That's why it looks as if it's more common among women, because they are less powered, let's use that term, and they are more vulnerable. Thank you. So to avert it, it has to do with the human...
I don't want to believe the story I heard about what happened during the Biafran Wars, that some men actually sent their wives to go and sleep with the Nigerian soldiers and bring money for feeding.
Or food, yeah. So you could understand something like that. And such a woman is not doing that because she wants to do it. It's just like her using what she have to get what she wants. So it goes beyond whatever we are doing collectively, which is still good, to everybody speaking to their conscience. If you're able to speak to your conscience that you are going to fight to bring back, in quotes, a trophy for your community, why must I abuse their women? That woman you are abusing, what if it's your daughter or your wife that somebody else is abusing? How will you feel? If this woman is running to me for safety or for food or for shelter because she doesn't have, why should I give her that on an exchange for her body? What if I'm the one in her shoe? So to really address this, we need to speak to our conscience. And it still boils down to comprehensive sexual education. So comprehensive sexual education makes you to nurture your child, irrespective of their gender, from when they are small. That conscience we are talking of as an adult did not just grow up like you grow up and you still have that conscience. It has been nurtured from childhood. When somebody behave, you said, there is something, we have our roots. So all hands must be on deck to get this done. Remember that man that is violating a girl, or that girl that was violated, as the case may be, was somebody's daughter, was an infant in a woman's hand, was under somebody's nose growing. We didn't just grow to become mothers and women, we grew somewhere. So to get this done, we have to go back to our roots and try to nurture our conscience. Let's work conscientiously. Let's not only be responsible, but let's be responsive as parents, as religious leaders, as traditional leaders, as healthcare providers, and of course, as the media, and definitely as government and the society.
All right, thank you very much. Remember what we said, that we are discussing this topic in commemoration of 2025 International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict. Let's now talk about the activities for the celebration. Yes, Barrister, what are you guys planning for to commemorate this? Anything on ground?
Basically, we'll continue.
Apart from what we are doing here now.
Apart from what we are doing here, we continue our advocacy. If you go to all our social media handles today, you will see us showing forth our advocacy against this. We continue to create awareness. We continue to say this is wrong. We continue to reach the unreachable and say this must stop. So this is what we use. Media goes so fast and the internet is making it go faster. So once we keep doing this and creating awareness and telling people that this is possible, secure your children. If there's a conflict and your sex is coming towards you, remove your women, remove your children. Let them go to a safe place because they may be violated. And then find a way to report. Make a report so that you can get help, so that your community will not, have a fair share of this kind of violence. Thank you very much.
Okay, will I take that as your last message this morning?
Thank you.
Okay, and then Ambassador, do you have any last message for us before we go? Coming from the healthcare department of what we are talking about this morning. Stop hiding. Go and tell them that you are raped. Let them give you what you call 72 hours care. Very important to make sure that you don't contract HIV. You are not pregnant if you're a woman, and if you're a man, that the valve in wherever they are touching can still work for you. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, the listeners and ABS, for this beautiful opportunity. The issue around sexual violence in conflict setting, it goes beyond sitting in a comfortable place. It has to do with you being in the forefront. Remember, these conflict places is not a comfortable zone. It's somewhere bombs are landing, machetes are going on. So as a healthcare worker, it goes beyond your salary. It has to do with a call to serve humanity. It has to do with your ability to stretch a helping hand to somebody. And of course, in this era where we are having what we call the funders fatigue, we are having the dwindling of funding around the HIV intervention, where we are not longer having the test kits and the pre-exposure prophylaxis, the post-exposure prophylaxis, and the likes, as the case may be, because of the Trump declaration. Imagine something happening and it meets those things. What are we going to do? It's becoming like something we are hiding under carpet, but I'm even worried of what the HIV statistics could be in the nearest future if nothing is done. Remember that those those survivors of this sexual violence will still come in and communicate and relate with somebody somewhere. They don't write it on the face that they were survivors of sexual violence. You don't know what they are passing through. So beyond a healthcare worker standing in the gap, the government must come up to bridge this gap that the Trump declaration is bringing in the health sector, especially as regards interventions for HIV and other sexually transmitted infection. We must have to bear our future in our hands.
Or Metuano, you say you won't
Thank
care
you
for
so
them.
much.
They don't know. They will give.
I
Oh, it's
also
true.
said, let the health people do mapping also and come closer to these areas. If where there's any conflict, send people close to start giving this. You can imagine
Okay.
you can send many people and give them the 72 hours and all those.
You can take the 72 hours to them instead of waiting them to come. You take it to them.
Go to them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's if you see what to work with, because that's what Ambassador is trying to say now, that they're in a dilemma, sort of, nothing to work with now. So the government should come in here seriously and bridge that gap that has been created with this Trump declaration that's no more AIDS from America. It's serious. We have not even started seeing the effect until maybe the next 1 year. It's going to be horrible, but we'll pray something happens. Okay, thank you very much. Amara Jekej. Chairperson, International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Nigeria, Anambra State Branch. Thank you for coming. Thank you. And then Ambassador. Where did I even keep your name? Okay, Amara is still also the chairperson, MBA Women Forum, Anambra State Lead. Thank you. And then Ambassador Ifechukwu Juliet Obiajolo, Country Coordinator, United Council for Youth Empowerment. She's also a nurse by profession and Program Manager, African Network of Adolescents and Young Persons Development. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I must say that I enjoy talking with you guys, and definitely you will come, because there's a whole lot of things, a whole lot of information that we got this morning that we need to expand very, very well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, do start by now for the next program, which is Catch the Boss.